Welcome to the Health Ranger Report, and today's special topic is sustainability. We are living in a non-sustainable way, of course, on our planet, and it's headed for, well, you can only say catastrophe at some point. But let me back up. What is the definition of sustainability? You don't think about that usually, but here's what it is. It means that if we lived the way we lived today, in other words, if we were a sustainable society, then we could keep living the way we're living today for 1,000 years or more, and we would never run out of the things that we need to sustain our current lifestyle. That's really what it means. It means that you can live without destroying the ecosystem, without destroying the fresh water supply or using it all up, without destroying the climate, without using up all the fossil fuels, without creating, let's say, radioactive waste dumps that would haunt future generations and so on. And even, by the way, it also means creating a sustainable agricultural system where seeds are passed down from generation to generation, and people can use those seeds freely, and they can then create abundance and sustenance from those seeds using the miracles of Mother Nature. Right? So a sustainable life means that future generations, not just 4 generations or 7, but 50 generations down the road, could live with the same level or quality of life that we experience today, and that they would not lack something that we used up. That's really what it means. And by the way, this whole talk is brought to you by the Search for Sustainability. That's a new docu-series interviews with lots of people. It's an interesting summit. You can check it out, register for free, hear everything, hear all the interviews. Just go to naturalnews.com/sustainability. And I encourage you to register and hear that. I'm interviewed in it as well. I give a little bit of doom and gloom about where we're going, but also some solutions for how to change the future for the better. Again, that URL is naturalnews.com/sustainability. Now, many people, and I know that this might be hard for you to hear, but many people are living a sustainability lie because they think that they're saving the planet, but they live in a city. And this is not a popular topic to discuss. I know that in advance, but cities, by definition, are not sustainable places to live. The real picture of sustainability is a person living in a mud hut in the country, growing their own food and mending their clothes. I've seen it, because I used to live in South America, and I've toured places like Peru, and I've seen sustainable living. They literally make their houses out of blocks of mud. It's pretty damn sustainable. If the house blows down in a tornado, it doesn't throw like drywall and trash everywhere like you see in Oklahoma. Instead, there's just mud bricks on the ground. You kind of pick them back up and stack them again. You got another house. It's real simple. They carry their own water. They don't have iPads and iPhones and internet browsers and all of that, and they mend their own clothes, and heck, they weave their own dang clothes with alpaca fur. You know what I mean? So I've seen sustainable living, and Los Angeles is not it, okay? Just FYI. New York is not it. Miami is not it. Even Austin, Texas is not sustainable living. And here's why. Because cities are artificial constructs that have to import all their resources at great energy cost. If you live in a city, you're using water, right? I assume you flush a toilet. I assume that you probably have a water tap. You would die without water, right? So you are using water. Well, that water comes to you through a series of pumps, especially if you live in LA, which is a desert. That water is pumped to you over a mountain. And the water pumping stations use fossil fuels predominantly, mostly natural gas, but some coal, to push that water over the mountain to bring it to you in the desert, which is not a place where you should be using that kind of water. So if you live in LA, I'm sorry to break the news for you, you're living a contradiction in terms of sustainability. Again, not the best news, but getting back to the city, it's not just importing the water, it's also importing the electricity, which is produced somewhere else, usually by coal-fired power plants. And those coal systems have emissions that power your devices, including your green car that you think has zero emissions. So if you're driving around a Tesla, a battery-powered car, and it has a bumper sticker on the back or a slogan, zero emissions. Well, not really. The emissions are just somewhere else because it did take power to charge your batteries. Where did that power come from? A coal-fired power plant out in the country somewhere, spewing pollution and mercury into the atmosphere and carbon dioxide and everything else. So it's not zero emissions. Yeah, it's zero emissions right here on the highway, but it's not zero emissions in a net calculation. But food is the big one. I always chuckle when I see people in the cities having a benefit for the planet, like the NRDC, for example. They'll have a benefit. And, let's all get together and let's have a buffet. And we'll raise some money for the planet, right here in the city. We'll have all-you-can-eat food from, it's trucked in from 1,200 miles away using diesel. Sorry, I have to tease the hypocrites here. Because, and by the way, I am an environmentalist. I'm not opposed to saving the planet at all, and I'll explain more of that in a minute. But if you live in a city and you're having a buffet benefit to raise money to save the planet, well, what are you serving at the buffet? You're serving food that came from 1,000 miles away, especially if you're eating in the winter. Let's say in the United States, you're getting food probably from Chile and Bolivia and South America, and Mexico and Central America, all these other places where food is grown, often using pesticides that are banned in the United States. So you're getting this chemical pollution, and then they're harvested using borderline slave labor, and then they're trucked on diesel trucks across the highway systems to get to you so that you can enjoy your fundraising buffet to raise money for saving the planet. You would have saved the planet more if you had stayed home and had a bowl of Wheaties or something, wheat flakes, because you could grow wheat in North America in the fall, by the way. So eating in a sustainable way is really one of the most important things that you can do to save the planet. And if you want to learn more about this, definitely register for the docu-series, the series of interviews. It's a summit, actually, called the Search for Sustainability at naturalnews.com/sustainability. And if you look at your diet and what you're eating, you should be able to tell how much you're living either the truth of sustainability or a lie. And here's the easy way to tell. If you're eating out of season, then you're living a lie, right? Because if you eat out of season, that is, you're eating, let's say, tomatoes in November. Right? Tomatoes don't grow in November in North America, do they? Well, everybody who grows their own food, like myself, and hopefully you, already knows that. So where do the tomatoes come from? Well, they come from south of the border, definitely. They come from somewhere in South America, probably. So you're eating food that's trucked in, it's out of season, and that means that you are not in harmony with the planet. You are not living a sustainable lifestyle yourself because you're eating foods from somewhere else. On the other hand, if you're eating in season, you're eating fall foods in the fall, you're eating spring foods in the spring, summer foods in the summer, then you're eating more local because those things are sourced locally and grown locally. If you eat seasonally, then you're eating local. And if you're eating local, you're eating more sustainably because local foods have fewer miles on them to get from the farm to your grocery store and ultimately to your plate. Now, I was shocked to learn that a lot of people don't know what season which foods grow in. Apparently, we have become so detached from our food supply now in modern society that people have no clue. They go to the grocery store, they see every vegetable, every fruit all the time. So they have no idea that certain foods only grow at certain times of the year. When do apples ripen and are harvested? People don't even know. When are citrus fruits harvested? What about watermelon or green beans? People have no clue. That's why they try to grow tomatoes in December and my crops died and they got frozen. They really don't know. When I used to live in Ecuador, we would go to the farmer's market all the time. And of course, you're only going to get things that are grown in season. And yes, even Ecuador had some seasonality, although not as extreme as the United States, of course. But there would be different produce available on different weeks. And that's normal. That's natural. What you have in the city with grocery stores is artificial inventory that is not sustainable, that is not eco-friendly. And I'm especially amused by people in New York who are raw food vegans juicing in January. And they're juicing organic celery from, I don't know, Chile, let's say, and they're having like a celery apple juice feast, a little bit of ginger in that juice. Oh yeah, we're saving the planet. We're juicing in January, saving the planet because we're vegans. And they don't realize like all that food has about 1,000 diesel miles on it, which means they burned up like every cup of juice is like 5,000 pounds of CO2 emissions. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the worst thing you could do for the planet. You're juicing in January, you got a problem. You're not eco-friendly. You're not sustainable. You know, I'm not trying to be harsh on vegans. Overall, veganism has a lot of advantages, but what I'm saying is, that is not an eco-friendly way. You're doing celery juice in January. Doesn't work. So, if you want to, did you like my little January juice jingle there? Yeah, it's always a little element of entertainment in every show. Yeah. In any case, if you'd like to hear the search for sustainability, definitely check it out. It's a serious series of interviews. It's not humorous like this piece is right here. And I'm featured in it as well as many other people who are experts in permaculture. So I suggest you check it out. Go to naturalnews.com/sustainability and you will go right to the registration page. You'll be able to hear all the interviews for free and learn a tremendous amount, a great wealth of information about living a truly sustainable lifestyle. Thanks for listening. And a satisfaction guarantee on everything that we offer. So check us out now at store.naturalnews.com and thank you for your support.